What 10 years in the same car can do to your net worth. Chapter 1. The documented result. Two people, same employer, same salary, same city. One has $310,000. $1 has $14,000. This is not a story about income. Income is identical. This is not a story about luck. Luck does not explain a $296,000 gap between two people who received the same paycheck every 2 weeks for a decade. This is a story about one decision made once that compounded silently for 10 years while everyone around it laughed. The decision was a car, not a smart car, not an investment vehicle. A 2013 Toyota Corolla, gray, cloth seats, a dent on the bumper the salesman called character, $9,400 cash, 71,000 miles already on it the day it was purchased. What happened next is not an opinion. It is arithmetic. Chapter 2. What the money actually did. $400 a month is the difference between a used Corolla and an average car payment in 2014. $400 a month, invested consistently at a 7% average annual return over 10 years, becomes $69,000. That is the floor. That is the minimum version of the outcome. But the Corolla owner did not stop at the car payment. The insurance was lower. The registration was lower. The depreciation was zero because the car was already depreciated. The total monthly delta between driving the Corolla and driving what their coworkers drove was closer to $600. $600 a month, 10 years, same 7% return, $104,000. That number does not include the raise redirected into savings at year 4. It does not include the emergency fund that never got touched because there was no payment eating the buffer. It does not include the compounding effect of having liquidity when other people were underwater. The Corolla did not build the net worth. The decision behind the Corolla did. Chapter 3. What the system costs you when you buy permission. There is a reason the gap is $296,000 and not $104,000. The person on the other side of this story did not simply spend more on a car. They entered a system designed to extract wealth from people who need to be seen as successful. The lease payment was $490 a month. The insurance on a new Acura for a 23-year-old was $180 a month more than the Corolla. The lifestyle that came with the Acura, the valet, the car washes, the identity maintenance, added another $150 a month in costs that did not exist before the car existed. $820 a month. Not invested, extracted. At year 3 the lease ended. There was no equity. The car went back. Another lease was signed. The cycle reset. Meanwhile, the Corolla owner's account crossed $40,000. They did not celebrate. There was nothing to celebrate. The car still made a sound with the AC. The seat still squeaked. Nothing about the exterior of their life had changed. But here is what the lease cycle never shows on paper. Every time the lease reset, the new payment was higher. The new model cost more. The insurance adjusted upward. The gap between the two accounts was not growing linearly. It was accelerating. At year 3, the difference was $40,000. At year 6, it was $110,000. At year 10, it was $296,000. The extraction system does not stay flat. It compounds against you at the same rate the investment compounds for you. Two curves moving in opposite directions. One person riding one up. One person riding the other down. Both curves look small at the start. Neither looks small at the end. Chapter 4. The hidden cost of being believed. There is a chapter in this story that does not appear in the spreadsheet. It is the decade of being laughed at. The coworker who said, "Did you lose a bet?" The family member who offered a loan for a new car because they assumed the old one meant hardship. The parking lot at the wedding where every other vehicle communicated success and the Corolla communicated nothing. This pressure is not small. It is the primary reason most people do not stay the course. The documented failure mode is not math. The documented failure mode is social. People abandon long-term financial decisions, not because the math stops working, but because the cost of being misread becomes unbearable. The car is the most visible financial decision a person makes. It sits in every parking lot. It announces itself to every colleague, every date, every family member. And so the car becomes the place where social pressure and financial strategy collide most directly. The people who build wealth through this method are not people who stopped caring what others think. They are people who found something to care about more. The number in the drawer. The paper folded and forgotten. The quiet arithmetic running in the background of a life that looked, from the outside, like it was falling behind. Chapter 5. The synthesis. At 34, the Corolla died in a parking lot. Head gasket, $2,800 to fix. The mechanic said it wasn't worth it. The owner sat on a bench outside the shop. They opened their savings account. $310,000. They walked to a used lot. They bought a 2021 Corolla, $11,800, cash. The system completed itself. 10 years, one decision. One repeating commitment to not buying permission. This is the documented outcome, not an inspiration, not a promise. A result produced by a specific set of choices, held consistently under sustained social pressure over a defined period of time. The question this leaves is not whether the math works. The math always worked. The question is what you are currently buying that has nothing to do with transportation.